Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video, we'll be doing our round 17 trade targets for AFL Fantasy and what was a huge week. So in terms of injuries, suspension, well, possible suspension still, I will be doing this video as if from the perspective that Heaney does get suspended and sort of my view on it and why I think one way is probably going to be more valuable in the long run than the other. So yeah, that'll be my point of view on that one. And I'll sort of take it a different viewpoint and I'll do what I usually do, but I'll also add a segment of just going through each line because we've sort of been hit on, well, the forward and the ruck line and sort of my view on that, as well as we'll go through the midfielders and stuff, but it should sort of hit chronological in an order, and we'll cover all bases there. But before we jump into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into this video. So as you see here, you have all of the trade outs, trade ins, most traded in by coaches. You have trade outs, etc. Let's go through it. So first of all, I want to start on the rucks, as with Gorn being out for two to 3 weeks. I think this is a must trade. 2 to 3 weeks, especially with the ruck department. Not many of us have, like for instance, Luke Jackson. He is 25% owned, so a quarter of us have Luke Jackson, right? He's only really going to be good for a week or two, and then you start to really bleed points. So I think it is just smart, mathematically speaking, to go and pick a straight replacement this week for Max Gawn, as I think that will score the most points, considering all other variables. So I'm going to run through all of the top rucks, and we're going to also use, given that this is still from the Cash Cows video that you would have seen, we're going to use the season-long DVP. This is a great insight here, and then we're going to go to the averages so you can see that there. So first of all, the first ruck I think that needs to be, that I've seen a little bit of, is Lloyd Meek. Now, I just think this is burning points, simply as that, or burning a trade, simply as that. Last 3, 90, last 5, 92, average 90 overall. I think he is just going to burn points. I think he'll have a good week this week against Luke Jackson, but I also think Luke Jackson will have a really good week against Lloyd Meek. I think they're two that can actually score really well off each other. Did he play against Fremantle last time they played? They haven't played Fremantle. So that makes that point a little bit mute. But yeah, I just don't think he has the capability against at least, I mean, he has a really kind run, but I just don't see it being him as the dominant ruckman. He probably will, but I think that this one is more of a pod play, and I just don't see the value there, as I think he burns 10 to 20 points per round, and you're getting him for 795k when I would even be tempted for, 40k more? 30k more, 29k more, go to Koning. Even if De Koning misses a game, I still expect him to score more than Lloyd Meek, put it that way. Brodie Grundy, another guy, if you don't have Brodie Grundy, you could go there, but I think his season starts to turn a little bit sour-ish. Yeah, I think that is a rough-ish run home. I don't think it's too bad. Collingwood will be interesting given their ruck collapse if Darcy Cameron doesn't get up and anything like that. They will have Mason Cox coming back soon, but that'll be an interesting one to look at. And yeah, so that'll be interesting there. Then we move up the chain. Briggs, don't think this is a good matchup either, as where is it? Briggs -2. He has a really rough 3 weeks where you're just going to be burning points, and you're basically just hoping for a freer matchup, where that'll be back when they have both Darcy and Luke Jackson, so that's probably even a rough matchup in itself, so I would be looking against that one. Moyle, we looked at that. It was a -4. I don't even think he'll score that well, and I don't even know if he'll play necessarily. Toby Nankervis, another one that's definitely come up into consideration as well. He has the +5 matchup. If we look at GWS, I know that they have, if we go and we do this, and then we look at this one here, if I just bring it up here. And then we go to last 5, as I think that's a better can be a better indication. Then we look at GWS here, and you'll see, whereas GWS, they are still a plus 9.23. And if you look here, you can see here Ryler O'Brien and then Tom DeConing. So yeah, he really gives away some points. If you look at last 10, I think you'll see a similar sort of trend with GWS. Where are they? They are here now at 6.24, and I'm pretty sure that accounts for one injury game as well. Tim English scored an 80, which is quite odd. But yeah, I don't think they are too good of I think that they'll be a really positive ruck matchup per se. So I'm really looking at Toby Nankervis as, yeah, I think that is a really positive matchup this weekend. And he also has Port Adelaide, who have had, let's look at Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide, a best ruck matchup. Then he's got Collingwood. Collingwood as well, with what's going on at the ruck matchup, could be an interesting one if we look at last 5 for them as well. So he's got Port Adelaide there, Collingwood as well, up there as well, GWS up there as well. Then he's also got North Melbourne. North Melbourne, as we see down here, are in the tough-ish matchup with minus 5.24. But if we actually look at North Melbourne here, Bailey Williams, well, it's Bailey Williams. And aside from that, he looks like he'll be basically a null and void type of, there'll be no influence on the scoring, so you can sort of expect 100 scoring. So it's not even that bad of a matchup. Then he's got St Kilda and Hawthorn. St Kilda and Hawthorn, St Kilda minus 11 in the last couple of weeks. That's a really weird one because they've just completely flipped it. Oh yeah, Brody Grundy went minus 13. Okay. And Oxford McInerney. Okay, so that actually could be a tougher matchup. Hawthorn as well, let's just look at them. They're up here somewhere as well. They're right on evens. So Toby Nankervis could be one that really does stick out as a pod play. I've definitely considered it at points, and it will depend on team selection if I actually go there or not. Sherry, another one that you could actually consider as well, hasn't really dropped a bad score since round 9 against, who was it against? Was it against Wicks? And yeah, let's look at his matchups for the rest of the year. North Melbourne 0.89. So that'll be definitely an interesting one to look at if you want to go with Tristan Sherry. I would say that... I'd say that, honestly, Nankervis looks like the guy that could be one that goes on a massive stretch here. He's gone 96, 107, 150... 118, 140, 100. He hasn't dropped a real poor score since basically round 9, as well as, what did we say, Cherry was round 9 as well? Was he round 9? Yeah, he was round 9 as well. So I could barely split these two. Tom DeConing could be a good one, but I just think he'll get rested, to be honest with you. So I would probably advise against that. But he does have a decent run looking at this with a plus 4.7. And when he does ruck, when he solo rucks, he does actually put up good scores. So yeah, I would consider this one, but I'd just be wary that he may not actually play. Then you got Rowan Marshall, 949k. He's an interesting one as well. He's taken 5 goals to get to hundreds in the last couple of weeks, which probably isn't the best look. But will be interesting to see what happens with him. I would probably stay clear just because of that forward role. And then Tim English has done all right in the last couple of weeks. Probably needs goals to get huge scores. But if you look at Western Bulldogs, they have a minus 0.27. So it'll be interesting in the next couple of weeks what happens. You could potentially catch him against Sydney in round 20, potentially, not having to ruck against them. 24. You have Adelaide as well. No, I'm trying to look for when does Sydney, does any of the top teams or any of the good matchups really have Sydney? They don't really have Sydney at all, so that'll be interesting. Also, Carlton have West Coast. That could be an interesting ruck debate just because of how Max Gawn's injury impacts that lopsidedness with West Coast here. Look at this. You'll see it's a -1. But with Max Gawn removed, it goes up to 14. And say that Max Gawn actually he was going to go 104 if we take his halftime statistics right. That breaks him down to a plus minus of actually -4. So -4, that's a plus 8 and then plus 20. So plus 28 divided by 3 is roughly 9 and a bit. So it's a plus 9 matchup rather than a minus 1. So that is hugely influential. So if Tom De Koning plays, I'm probably going to go Tom De Koning because all these matchups are basically positive matchups, I would say. So if Tom De Koning plays, I'll probably go for him. But I kind of want him to actually play. But yeah, that is my whole ruck debate. Forwards, this is probably going to go quicker. Mano, we talked about in the rookie section. Dylan Moore's doing Dylan Moore type stuff, but he doesn't have the absolute perfect roles. I would just stay clear of him at the moment, even though I think a lot of people will trade him in. Caldwell, obviously, trade him in. He is on fire. Matthew Kennedy, I just don't like how he can become the sub and then just tank it. So that's the only problem with Matthew Kennedy at the moment, I find, is just he just can be sub. And he averages 78 for a reason. He's had a sub game here. That wasn't even a sub game for a 36. That's the only problem with him, is that there isn't really any consistency here. And if we go to AFL.com, I just want to see, has his role changed? Because if his role has changed, then that's totally different. But I don't think it has, per se. Elijah Hollins is getting the CBAs. Matthew Kennedy, 77, 38, 29. It's actually decreased. So that's an interesting watch there with selection at Carlton. So that will be an interesting watch along multiple lines at Carlton. But I would probably stay clear. 718k. You can get him next week if he does score 100 again. If we look at actually, we'll duplicate this and then get rid of it. Let me just get rid of this. And then go here and go back again, and then go inside mid-ish, and then we'll go general forwards. You'll see here that Carlton have a minus 1.89, and then general forwards, because he is considered a general forward to a certain degree, they have a minus 0.83. So it is a negative run home, but generally it's negligible, to be honest. So there's that for forwards. Luke Jackson wouldn't be jumping on him. If you still don't have Zorko, jump on him. He's a good target to get. Philippou, I wouldn't be jumping on him. He's one for the future. I think this was an outlier game. We've already seen him have big midfield role, I believe, in this 68. And he got a 68. And I believe also another one here where he got a midfield role and scored like a 50-odd or something. Let me just double check this here. I'll just double check here. Where is Philippou here? 48% in round 4, round 10, and round 17. So here we go. Philippou, round 4, he scored a 68. Round 10, he scored a 26. And round 17, he scored a 117. So that is 143 plus 68 is 211. So he averages 70 as a on-baller, and 70 isn't going to get you anywhere. Jai Simpkin, an interesting one. 674k, I think you can wait a week. I wonder how Wardlaw's impact is going to have with him, given that he did score an 81, I believe, with Wardlaw. So I'll be interested to see how that works. And I don't know whether that'll take away time in what's going to happen with that midfield mix. So I would just stay clear of Simpkin, because where's Simpkin here? Simpkin, when they had Wardlaw in there, they actually took away, they had Harry Sheasel here. And where was Tom Powell as well, 39%. So it'll be an interesting watch there with Simpkin, because that 92%er was when he went big, wasn't it? Or did he go big against Gold Coast? He went big against Gold Coast, big against the Eagles. When was the Eagles? 65%. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I'm not too... it'll be, as I say, will be interesting, because he, without Wardlaw there, he's scored 92% CBA, 69% CBA. So I'm just intrigued to see how that works out with Simpkin and his scoring in general. Bradley Hill, I just don't like... He's just sort of meh, as simple as that. So I wouldn't go there. And then Fisher coming back in this weekend, you could potentially go there. I wouldn't be trading him out at this point, because he's probably going to come back in. And he should be a decent enough scorer. I would just have a week watch with the likes of you get a week's worth of watching with the likes of McKercher, and if he does well, then you just jump back on him and he's there at 794k, and then you pick up another another guy at like 850, 900k as a midfielder. You can almost do a double up there, and you have two primos there that are still primos. So that'll be a watch with Fisher there, because he has 122 break even. So he's probably still going to go down in price. But now we go on to all positions here, and we'll fly through the rest of this, given it's already a 15-minute video. English we talked about. Mano we talked about in the rookies. Colby McKercher, I'd still wait. If he fails, we haven't seen him and Fisher for like 8 weeks now. And him and Fisher, I think, was the 88, 98, 109, 64. So I don't know exactly what that is. 173, 272, 280, 360, and so he averaged 90. That's still below. And I think Fisher was also involved in here as well. So I just want to watch that with McKercher and how that rolls. Does Fisher just take some rolls off of Tucker and some other guys there? We'll see. We talked about Moore, Caldwell, Marshall, Rosie, another one. I just completely messed it up. Yes, grab him. Simple as that. He's on fire at the moment. And yeah, there's something I had to readjust with my logic there about that. Tom DeConing, we talked about. Kennedy, yep. We talked about Jackson. Dunkley here, 2.3k trade-ins. I think this is a really good trade-in. The West Coast Eagles this week, he didn't play them so far this year, so has them for the first time this year. Averages 106 against them. I think this is a massive potential game for him to score really well in. So I would be grabbing him up here. I'm just grabbing up the value option in Rosie first up. But yeah, Dunkley, huge trade-in possibility this week for people that have the cash and don't have any of the worries of Gawn, Heaney, Rankin, etc. Tristan Cherry, Nankervis, we talked about. Zane Zorko, we talked about. Humphreys and the rookies. Tom Stewart, I'd wait another week just to see if this role is 100%, to see if it holds for a third week running, as I think that would be good evidence to show that he's going well. And yeah, I think that role is definitely a big scorer for him. I'm just worried that it's 2 weeks and then he'll start to hit a form slump potentially, or something will change and that'll get him out. But at like 780, 790k, if he gets another 125, I'd be happy to jump on him there, to be honest. Then we jump down here. Neil, another one, much like Dunkley. Yes, I think that is a really good trade-in this week. I thought he wouldn't be a good trade-in just because he never really scores high fantasy, just because he never really was a huge tackler. If we look here at his stats in general, I can actually bring up his Lockie Neil stats here. If we go here, we look by averages. You can see his mark total is he averages 4 marks, and then if we look at his tackle numbers, he averages 3.78. But you can see in recent years, 3 and 4 tackles here, 4 marks. So yeah, he's never really been one to, I don't think, and the handballs outweigh the kick. So he's never been one to really score highly in fantasy. If we look at his full profile here, you'll see, I think, if I'm seeing correctly, 97 last year. Then in 2022, he averaged 107, so that was a huge year for him. 94, then this was the COVID year. 98, he went really well, 104. So yeah, the last couple of years, he's never really been that absolute top guy. So he's sort of that guy that you look at going, that's going to be a run, but whenever I bring him in, he's just not going to do well. But yeah, so he hasn't really done anything the last couple of years, particularly, as you see with 2021, 2023, 2020, as we said. And yeah, so he hasn't really lived up to it, I guess, in the last little bit. But in the last sort of 5 or so weeks, you can sort of see last 5, 111 average, last 3, 126, he's been absolutely huge. So definitely one that I consider there. And then, yeah, we pretty much talked about everyone else here. So that pretty much is the video there, going through all of the trade targets for round 17. And I will see you guys in the next video, which will be my probably team reveal for round 17 for both Supercoach and Fantasy. So I'll see you guys in those videos. Bye, guys.